Hello and welcome to this Stir for Security video. Today we have Patricia Compard, who's going to discuss her role and the importance of this project, Stir for Security. So Patricia is a senior advisor with over 28 years experience in conceiving, implementing and coordinating security and resilience policies within the French Home Office, NATO, the French Prime Minister Cabinet Office, and the French Security Service. So we're really lucky to have Patricia in this project, and we wanted to take some time today to discuss some particular questions. So very welcome, Patricia.
Thank you for having me.
So you have a wealth of experience as a police commissioner and within the standardization sphere. So could you tell us a little bit about your background and how this has enriched your knowledge of the intersection between practitioners and standardization?
Well, yes, I'm a bit experienced now, and I had the opportunity of being involved in lots of different kind of issues, such as counterterrorism, counterespionage, and organized crime. And then you get to know so much of what's going on in the world and what the stakes are. And then I was also involved for a few years in the government crisis center. So I was able to do the preparedness and exercise, but also actually manage crisis. And that's the best way to learn and to get involved with all kinds of different stakeholders, even the ones that were not in the police. So this is how I became, as an expert, a standardizer. I joined for crisis management standard, which has just been published yet. And then I got involved in lots of different standardization activities. And I was elected chair of CENTC 391, which is a social and citizen security. That was 3 years ago. So now I'm deeply involved in developing standardization for European needs to enforce coordination and lots of activities who really need standardization in the field of security.
Excellent. Thank you, Patricia. What has attracted you to the Stir for Security project?
Well, it really was a project for me when I saw this course, because this is most of the activity that I have to do as a chair of the CENTC 391, because it's a major pre-standardization project for disaster risk resilience as well as for CBRNE, which is the scope of my TC, and it is managed by the CEN, which I belong to when I'm a standardizer. The call was launched by the DG Home, which is in charge of most of the coordination of what we do. And we have lots of excellent partners, NSBs, private companies. So it really was the right partners for the right task, and I would say also at the right time, because when we end up with this project, we're ready with a platform, a tool which will be very useful in order to be efficient to develop the programs Secure Europe 21. It will be much easier to spend this money in the right way in order to enforce coordination and security within Europe.
Thank you. In terms of your standardization experience, what's your perspective on the current standardization landscape?
Well, it's a lot of work convincing the stakeholders that they should invest in standardization, and that it is a powerful tool to help them solve lots of their problems. But what we could do with Stir for Security is reinforce pre-standardization, because we will help them build the forward-looking big picture of what is needed, and it's particularly complicated to get this picture in Europe because everything is so fragmented, and then you also have 28 countries, 28 governments, so that is really an issue, and will help them, set up priorities in order to improve the relevance of what they do and how they invest either their money or the European funding. So that's important, and also standardization. They will be able, with for security to use that as a tool to develop a common language, and they may end up using the current standard or developing new standards on terminology, or harmonize their processes and practices and learn from others, which is something that we do in standardization. They will be able to develop and prepare the landscape, for actual interoperability. I don't want people to talk about interoperability. I want them to build it, to maintain it. For anything, processes, systems, equipments, or of course data. So with this tool, they'll be able to have at least the basics information that will help them to move on, and they don't have it for the moment. It's too fragmented. We will also be able to develop single market. It's of everybody's interest to develop single market. It's of course very fragmented. It will bring growth and will be of the benefit also of the users, as well as for the suppliers. So that really would be an achievement. And then with this big picture, it will be easy for them to prioritize and to see where they need research, where they could develop innovation, what kind of innovation they could choose. So there's a lot of benefit there. But I think the most important benefit, maybe it would be even just this one would be sufficient. It's for the public. The public has a strong demand on security in Europe. The space is open. The risks don't know anything about borders and plans and having 28 governments. But still, they want to be safe. They want to be secured. So that is our duty to create those conditions. And this is what the cybersecurity platform is about.
So why practitioners? Why are they so integral to the project's methodology and output?
Well, thank you for these questions, because yes, it is. This is what really is new about this project. You see, when you look at other pre-standardization projects within Europe, people would believe that you take all stakeholders and you put them all together and take everybody's interest and you make a mix and you end up with a solution, and it simply doesn't work this way. What would work, what would bring actual outcomes, would be to have something which is policy and practitioners oriented, needs oriented, because these people are the one in charge. Nothing is going to happen if it's not what they do, if they don't decide for themselves. So the industry, the research, and all the other partners' interests would be to match the users and the policymakers' interests. It's their business, it's their responsibility, it's their expertise. It is their investments. It is, they have a duty to protect the people by law. If they fail, they go to jail, or they have problems with the press. So there's no way other people are going to tell them you should be doing this and that. So if you want to move these people, you have to have them an end user oriented platform. So research is needed, innovation is needed, private companies' interaction, of course, is needed to identify what's the clever thing to do. But of course, they would have to comply with the needs of their customers. And this is how we're going to move it. So the Stereo Security platform is a platform for it's a support for decision making for any kind of stakeholders. But it is end users need, practitioners need, policymakers need oriented.
Thank you. So you mentioned the platform there in your response, and Stir for Security promise a practitioner-led platform and one that is focused on practitioners. Could you describe the platform, its functions, maybe something about the format and its goals at this stage?
Well, there are things that I can not that I currently don't know precisely for the moment, because we're in a phase of conception, but we do know what we want to achieve and the kind of data and the kind of uses that would be done from the platform by the different stakeholders. Of course, it is practitioners and policy makers oriented. We will base everything on who they are and what they do, what are these particular tasks they have. And then all these tasks, it's a huge work, as you can imagine. And all those tasks will be related to any relevant information that may help them solve their problem or build this particular big picture they need to have in order to make any kind of decision they want. So it will help them strengthen their assessment process, for instance, or find the right partners, or view the state of play on a particular issue, where they need to coordinate, where they would need innovation, where is the available innovation, where there's no solution and the problem is shared by everyone. So maybe we should launch a call for developing research in this particular field, which was not done for the moment, which was not done before. It will help them target the right priorities, the right investment. It will invite them to develop coordination, because they will see how effective it is to any activity they have, and not only at the European level, but also what they do on an everyday basis. It will enhance really their national capacity. I was just speaking about the practitioners, but you have outcomes for everyone. Of course, the policymakers at national level, but also Europe. Of course, it will help them do their investment wisely and develop the coordination. That's also part of their task. It will help Europe's achievements to be known by any relevant stakeholders. It will also help the industry know much better what are the actual needs of their potential customers. So it will have an effect on their costs, and then on the prices, and then on the market, which is something interesting. It will help the researchers to find the right partner and the right consortia to bring in research that will be used, and it will help the public again, help the public to have more effect, more from their money, more from their governments, and more security and resilience on an everyday basis. So this is quite an outcome, I think.
Absolutely, yes. Thank you very much for speaking to us today. It was a very interesting discussion, and at the moment, it's just amazing to get this insight from partners like yourself, and we look forward to seeing what Sterile for Security develops in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheryl.